starting to feel like the movie Groundhog Day, because we have afternoon storms one day and then we do it again and we do it again. Yesterday, we had a pretty good coverage across our area. If you remember, though, I said mostly the eastern portions of our area would be getting rain. But look at this. The real winner was northern Hill County, parts of northern Ellis County as well. So that wasn't the case. Here's the thing. When we have storms to the east, all it takes is one or two outflow boundaries moving to the west, and then you get a whole new batch of storms. So these outflow boundaries, there's no way to know when, where, or how frequently they're going to happen. So if you have a storm that pops up, you can guess you're probably going to get an outflow boundary. You don't know what direction it's going to go. These outflow boundaries are created when these storms, they bubble up, get really tall and really strong. That's where you can get some of that hail and some of those stronger storms. You get the really heavy rains. And then they get really tall and big, and they sit there for just a moment, and then they collapse. And when they collapse, you get all of that energy moving downward, and it's got to go somewhere. When it hits the ground, it spreads out in all directions. That's when you get those cool winds out of the outflow boundary. And when that outflow boundary moves out, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, they create new storms. So it's a crapshoot sometimes, just to use very plain language, where these things are going to happen, where the storms are going to pop up, first of all, and where the outflow boundary is going to go, if it produces one, and if it's going to create thunderstorms. So on a day like today, we can say the best chances to the east, but don't count it out in your western areas, because you could easily get an outflow boundary that creates a whole trail of storms. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what happened in northern Hill County yesterday. Storms to the east, that outflow boundary blew to the west, created its own storms as it went, and there you go. And you just have, yesterday was a prime example of just having these outflow boundaries bouncing around all over the place. It was just nuts. But as far as the rain yesterday, just about 1/10 of an inch in Cleburne, about 1/2 an inch in Waxahachie, a little more in the rural areas there, 3/4 of an inch in the Hillsborough area, close to an inch near Hillsborough there, and then just about a trace in Corsicana, but again, on either side, there was a little more rain. So localized, and that's what you expect, but better coverage than I expected. This afternoon, again, about a 20% chance in our eastern areas, but don't count that out in your western areas, because we could very well get plenty of storms if those outflow boundaries do go that direction. There's nothing on radar right now. Right now it's calm. Everything is clear out there. Temperatures today will be quite warm, 88, 89 degrees, so plenty of warm air to rise and lift and create those thunderstorms. And then overnight tonight, 67, 66 degrees. Could be a degree or two cooler if we can get enough outflow boundaries to push enough rain-cooled air around. That's kind of what happened yesterday. Yesterday evening was quite nice. We had all those outflow boundaries bringing all that cool air blowing around and made things pretty pleasant. So that could be a degree or two lower, just depending again on those very unpredictable outflow boundaries. So here's what we're looking at. And again, I talked about Groundhog Day. This just looks so similar, and it's starting to feel a little too repetitive. I'm talking about these troughs and ridges. We have a ridge of high pressure that is in our western part of our state, and it's moving in. It's pushing the drier air in, and that's why we're looking at, for at least for our area, looking at a lower chance for the eastern side of North Texas. But as this thing moves east, so too will the trough, which is where you go below this low pressure system, and this is going to carry this outflow, or this disturbance to our north and to the east again. So again, we could be talking about storms to the east, but all of this will be moving eastward. And I also want to quickly point out, I talked about this yesterday on the page, yes, we do have what could become our first tropical system of the year. Tomorrow, June 1st, starts hurricane season, and it looks like we could get an early start. That doesn't look like it's going to do much, though. It's going to move across Florida, take some rain there. It doesn't look like we're going to have a hurricane out of it or anything. We'll see what happens when it gets out in the Atlantic, but those are cooler waters, so time will tell. For our area, though, what's going to happen is this is going to continue to move to the east. This low pressure system will eject and move northeastward. So what I'm watching for is lower chances of rain today, and we'll see what tomorrow afternoon looks like. Right now it looks dry, but we could have a repeat of some more afternoon pop-up thunderstorms possible. The better chances arrive this weekend, and what I'm expecting is Friday night for a system of storms to develop, and we have seen this the last couple of weeks. A line of storms to develop in the Panhandle, moves on east through the night. arrives very early Saturday morning. Now, Saturday morning, later on in the morning, 8 to 11 a.m., I'll be at Midway Airport, Midway Regional Airport, that is. A lot of people, when I say that, they're going, you're going to be in Chicago? Midway Regional Airport between Midlothian and Waxahachie with the Commemorative Air Force for the pancake breakfast and fly-in. I'll be volunteering with the CAF, so I won't have a South Metro weather booth or anything. Don't be looking for that. I'll be at the CAF booth. But it's looking like we could clear out before that. It's looking right now at this point, if the timing holds, we're looking at probably 3, 4, 5 a.m. for those storms. Hopefully everything clears out for that event, because how can you beat classic airplanes and pancakes in the morning? It sounds like a good time to me. So that's what we're watching for, and we could have another round Sunday. So right now it looks like overnight events. Overnight Friday into Saturday, possibly again Saturday night into Sunday. Time will tell, though. We're still a couple of days away. I always talk about how the forecast can change. That's what we're looking at, and I think it's a pretty sure bet how we're going to get storms. It's the timing that could be a little bit unclear, and our chances for severe weather, although it does look like, as was recently the case, it's pretty strong in the Panhandle and weakens as it moves into our area, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Your day planner for the rest of the day today, starting at 1 o'clock, about a 10% chance of showers and storms. I think our better chances are this afternoon, late this afternoon, evening, 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll be looking at that 20% chance. Let me reiterate one more time. We have a 20% chance, but if we start getting those outflow boundaries bouncing around everywhere, could have much better coverage across our area, so stay tuned this afternoon. By 9 o'clock, I think we're at least mostly done. Just some cloudy skies, partly to mostly cloudy skies out there, depending on how much cloud cover is left over from those storms. And again, 77 degrees overnight. I think by the time we get to midnight, we're pretty much dropping into the 60s. So here's the forecast. Here's what we're looking at. Again, 20% chance, 20% chance of storms later today, completely dependent on those outflow boundaries. Tomorrow, I have it dry, but we'll have to watch and see if a few afternoon storms might be possible then too. Friday, mostly dry, and then the afternoon, evening hours, we start watching out west once again to see what storm systems are moving in. Right now, it looks like late Friday night, early Saturday morning is our first round. That'll be one round of storms. Looks like Saturday, I think we'll get a lull in the activity through most of the day. At least that's the forecast right now. Then Saturday night into Sunday could have another round coming in. And then Monday looks like we could have a few storms along with Tuesday. So that forecast is a little less clear. Just understand that we'll be starting the work week with more thunderstorms possible. And we'll be cooling down a little bit too. We get into the mid 80s for the beginning, or at least for the weekend. The beginning of next week though, we're back in the mid to upper 80s. So we'll get a little bit cooler as those storm systems are coming through. So don't let this 20% fool you. Could have a higher chance later today, higher coverage. Tomorrow looks dry. Friday's mostly dry and warm, almost 90 degrees. But late Friday night, Saturday morning, more storms on the way.